Hi, this is Chris at the Wandering Bull. And in front of me today are Seminole dolls. We're going to talk about the dolls, their construction, the patchwork that's involved in that clothing. So these dolls from Florida, the Seminole folks live down in Florida. And from the early 1800s, this style of clothing slowly came into fashion. So prior to that, the men were wearing long leather shirts. And you can see these men, they're wearing long cotton shirts or fabric shirts. And they call them long shirts, where the women are wearing dresses with a blouse on top. So this girl in particular has the red blouse and the skirt underneath. So the bands of fabric are constructed in long lengths like this, and then they're cut up and made into clothing. So the base of these dolls is palmetto fiber, and you can see on this woman, it's this brown fibrous material which grows in Florida, and there's a core base, and sometimes it's totally this fiber. And this girl here in particular has a cotton base, and then they wrap that fiber around, sew it on the bottom, and make her stand up. So the hair, they put a cardboard blank in place and then fold their hair over that. That was the style that they were wearing, and these dolls represent that style. So the men, they're wearing just like a black scarf on their head. This guy here has a turban with a band, a silver band around it. And he is also wearing his long shirt. And we refer to this as a two-band outfit. There's one band and there's the other. And then later in time, they weren't doing as much of this cut-out fabric. They were just constructing a dress, and in place of those bands, the women were using this rick-rack fabric. And so all the women have earrings, have a necklace, and they're right down to all the little dolls. And this little tiny guy here, same thing, the rick-rack, and has sequins in place. So they made a variety of sizes of dolls, and these were dolls that were made for the tourist trade. And there's far more women dolls than there are men. And the men are, as we talked about, wearing that long shirt. And this guy has no bands of fabric, but he's got bands of rick-rack. And this guy, he has one band of fabric, and he's wearing a scarf. Looks like majority of the men have a scarf around their neck. This guy has some beads holding it in place. And the men all have feet and legs, where the women all have that core base that they're standing up on. And they're very interesting. Their eyes are all constructed the same, even though they were made 30, 40, 50, even 100 years apart. Still, the construction's the same, with the thread across the eyes and then a little black line. This male has a nose. And this little girl, opposed to one band of rick-rack, but a nice piece of lace wrapped around there. So, a variety of dolls and time period. And doing some research, there was stated that there were escaped African slaves that lived with the Seminole folks. And I don't know if this hairstyle is from that, obviously very different than the people with the formed and their hair folding over. So this dress here would be considered a three-band dress, the 1, 2, 3. So each band is very separate, and the more elaborate the cuts are in here, the more expensive the dress would be. Like on this shirt here, that's 2 bands with a whole bunch of that rickrack material in place. We're going to open this guy up. Look at the amount of work that's involved in creating that finished look. There's no knots, there's no threads, it's all on the inside. There's a trick to that for these women to produce these bands, and when they produced them, this is what they would do. I have 4 examples of bands of fabric that were never applied to a dress or a shirt. So this is how they would be made. And then at this point, I believe these are like 5-6 feet long. They would take these and then make the dress. Very unusual. I don't normally see this fabric coming to us. So a nice example, and this is the way to learn how they were done and that process. You flip them over and boy, the amount of work that goes into creating, that's a wide band, 1, 2, 3, 4 colors, and 1, 2, 3, 4 colors as well. A lot of work is involved before you even start to make the skirt or the jacket. This black jacket, as we talked about, has the 2 bands. Probably from 1980s, 1990s is the vintage of this jacket. And I have a few more dolls that have been in my collection for some time. I've got a couple of men. This guy has pants, very unusual. So instead of the big shirt, he's just wearing pants right down to his feet, which the women, as I said, don't have feet, have that round core base. And this particular little, I think it was spent a fair amount of time in the sun, so the fabric is very much faded. Yeah, we could open it up on the inside. Nice dark green. So on the website, we have a few of the dolls that are on the site, as well as the bands of patchwork. There's 4 different bands that are in a group lot, as well as the red skirt. That inventory changes regularly, so jump on wanderingbull.com, see what we have for current Seminole material. Thanks for watching, and you can give us a call at 1-800-430-2855. Jump on wanderingbull.com, our Facebook, and or our Instagram. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.